And at number 4, we have Spiral from the Book of Saw. This is the most recent entry in the Saw franchise. This movie to me is very underrated. I think this is a really decent movie. If this is how they revived the Saw franchise, instead of Jigsaw, then I think the franchise would have been in a much better state. Spiral is a very interesting film that is set even farther from the main movies, which is Saw 1 to the final chapter, and this time the killer isn't even a disciple of John. It's just a complete copycat killer. Honestly, I think I would probably put this movie above the next entry, if the twist wasn't so goddamn predictable. They make it so obvious. See, I didn't know what the twist was until one scene. So the main character is played by Chris Rock. He has a partner throughout the movie, and his partner becomes one of the victims as well as a lot of other cops. That's kind of part of the plot, is this killer is killing cops who are really corrupt. His partner gets killed, but when they discover the body, they don't show a flashback scene or anything. They don't show the actual death scene like every other character. They just play a tape. They just play the tape of it. And at that point, the moment they did that, I was like, yep, he's the killer. His partner was the killer the whole time. And what do you know? He was the killer the whole time. Who would have known? The traps of this movie are also really unique. I will definitely give it that. Anyways, let's go on to the next one. Next up, we have Saw 6. Saw 6 is one of the later films in the franchise, and the later films are usually critiqued, but Saw 6 is actually really good. Saw 6 is really good. It has some really awesome traps, including one of the most iconic ones, which is the shotgun carousel, which is basically, I think it's five of the main characters' employees, and only two of them, he can only save two of them. The other three get shot with a shotgun straight to their chest, right in front of them. Yeah, this is a terrifying trap, and it's only slightly ruined by this piece of dialogue right here.
You motherfucker! You spineless, pussy-whipped motherfucker! Look at me! When you're killing me, you look at me!
I don't even think the dialogue's bad. I just think that the actor really overacted this part. Anyways, they deal with a really interesting topic in this film, that would, in most films, be really boring to some people. They deal with health insurance, and our main character runs a health insurance company, and he basically gets targeted by John. It's a really interesting topic, and our main character is actually dynamic. A lot of the main characters from the Saw movies, it's like you feel bad for them, but at the end of the movies, a lot of them don't end up changing at all. Jigsaw. This movie, the main character actually changes, and you genuinely feel bad for him, and you genuinely want him to survive. Unfortunately, he doesn't. Hoffman also has a really cool scene where this is the movie where we get a lot of lore for Hoffman, and we see why Jigsaw trusts him as his successor in the scene where Jill puts a reverse bear trap on his head per John's wishes, and he is able to get himself out of it by smashing it through he puts the bar things here that open your fucking jaw up and everything. He puts them between two metal bars and slips his way out before it goes off, which is so badass in so many ways. Overall, this movie's really good. And yeah. At number 2, we have Saw 2. Saw 2 was a fantastic, solid sequel to a classic modern horror movie. Does that make any sense? Yes, it does, because I said so. Anyways, yeah, Saw 2 was really solid. And it basically introduced us to a new concept that would be done multiple times in the Saw franchise, which is group tests. Instead of just one or two people max in a trap, we have an entire group of people in a house full of these traps that is made for each and every one of them. The house is being filled with nerve gas, and they have very little time to get these traps done and get their own cures. Now, fuck this all up because a lot of them are dumb and are criminals who did not learn their lesson. There's a lot, including Amanda, who was a character in the first movie, who was the first person to be put in the reverse bear trap. She is put back into another test, even though she passed the first one. It turns out that she was a double agent this whole time and was put there by Jigsaw. She already had the cure for the nerve gas, and she was monitoring everybody to make sure everything went as planned. Speaking of Jigsaw is finally fully seen because the police figure out where he's been staying, and they raid his place and everything, and Jigsaw is just sitting there and he lets them. And he basically gives some of his monologuing and his lore and everything. And there's a recording on these computer screens where everyone can see the test going on. The biggest twist of the film isn't the Amanda being a double agent. It is that the whole footage on the camera is not live. It is a recording. And it turns out that our main character, who I cannot remember his name, it turns out his son, who was in the test, was actually in a safe near where Jigsaw was sitting, in his warehouse place, the whole time. Yeah. So, this is a really good movie. That's all I can really say. And of course, at number 1 is the original Saw. You just can't beat this original. A lot of people think that, the original can't be beat. And in some cases it can. In terms of the Saw franchise, you can't beat the original. The original is so original. It's so original. It literally is a fucking pinnacle. Is that the right word? It's a staple of modern horror. The Tobin Bell is probably one of the only good actors in this movie. The acting in this movie is really not good. It's not great. We'll say, I don't know. It's okay. But you go there for the plot. You go there for the twist. You go for the traps. And like I said earlier, the twist of the killer being in the middle of the room, the dead body, it turns out that Jigsaw was there the whole time, is insane. And don't even get me started on the Hello Zepp. Holy shit. I don't know if I can play this in this video because it'll get a copyright strike or claim, or is it? Yeah. Copyright claim. Claim. I don't get strikes. I'm playing it anyways. This shit is gold. This shit is fucking gold. And so is this movie. If you have not seen Saw, watch it. I'm not saying any more. This video is going to be long enough as it is. I'll see you guys in the next one.